Hello everyone, and welcome to our second day of the flipped classroom. Today we're going to be talking about the area of parallelograms. So I'd like you to please take your notebook out, turn to your table of contents, and copy down our heading, page 37, 4.1, area of parallelograms. When you're ready, go ahead and turn to page 37, and you're going to have the same title. Here we go. Now at any time, if you need to pause the video in order to take the notes or practice the problems, please feel free to do so. So we're going to be talking about the area of parallelograms, but the first thing you need to know is what a parallelogram is. So a parallelogram looks like this. And the definition is a four-sided figure with opposite sides parallel. So you'll notice if we were to follow these two lines all the way, they would never meet. Same thing with these two lines, they're both parallel. So in order to find the area, we're going to have to know what the formula for the area of a parallelogram is. For a parallelogram, it's going to be area equals base times height. Now if we're writing that algebraically, it's going to be A equals B times H. Now I have a way for you to remember this formula. If you know the song My House by Flo Rida, you'll probably recognize this tune. So it goes like this. Welcome to my house, we can find the area of a parallelogram. Yes, it's base times height. Okay. Please don't judge me on my singing, but now I'd like you to sing it along with me. So, welcome to my house, we can find the area of a parallelogram. Yes, it's base times height. Okay. So in our sample parallelogram, our base would be our bottom. So you can remember that as B, base, bottom. Our height most likely will be represented by a red line in our parallelogram. It will look something like that. That would be your height. So in our sample problems today, you will see that red line in some of them, and we will automatically know that that is the height. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to look at finding the area. And here's our first shape. So looking at the parallelogram, and if you look at our sample, what would our base be and what would our height be? Go ahead and think about that quickly. So if you said that our base is equal to 12, you are correct, and the height is equal to 14. So in order to find the area of this parallelogram, we're going to use our formula, which we have up here, area equals base times height. And we're going to take what we know and plug it into our formula. So our area will equal 12 times 14. So we're going to do our calculation. 12 times 14. 4 times 2 will give us 8. 4 times 1 will give us 4. We put our 0, 2 times 1, and 1 times 1. So that means the area of our parallelogram is 168 meters. In our problem it told us meters, so we have to make sure that we put meters in our answer as well. Now I'm going to give you one that I'd like you to solve on your own, so you're going to pause the video once I give it to you, and then when you're done, you can play the video and see if you got it right. So here's our next one. So go ahead and pause and solve this problem on your own. Now that you've had a chance to look at the problem, we're going to go through it together. So first, you would have to determine what your base and what your height is. So in this problem, our base is equal to 20. So you'll see it down here. And our height is that red line in the problem. It's going to be equal to 25. Next, you would get your formula, area equals base times height, and you would plug in your numbers, 20 times 25. Then I need to multiply 20 times 25, which would give me 500. So that means my area would be equal to 500. We look back at our variable, 500 m, or 500 meters. All right, so now that we've found the area of the parallelogram, we're going to look at some where they don't give us the base times height. So we're going to be looking at finding the area of a parallelogram on a grid. For this problem, I would like you to pull out that piece of paper that I gave you in class today, and you're going to be gluing it down underneath your heading. Now notice that my tall, skinny one is on the left, and the shorter, bigger one is on the right. So make sure you have them in the right spot. So when we're looking at these parallelograms, we'll label our first one A. You'll notice that there's no numbers. So we're going to have to figure out what our base and our height is. So remember I told you that base would be bottom, right? Bottom, base, bottom, base. So I'm going to look at the bottom, and in order to find my number, I'm going to count how many squares I have there. So I have 1, 2. So that means my base would be equal to 2. Next, I'm going to look at my height. So for this one, I'm going to start at the top of my parallelogram and draw a line down to the bottom of my parallelogram. And this will help me to see what my height is. So I'm going to count my squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which tells me that my height is 5. So then I will go down and I will write my formula, area equals base times height, and I'm going to plug in the numbers that I know. So I know that my base is equal to 2 and my height is equal to 5. We're going to multiply 2 times 5, which will give me 10. So our area equals 10. I would like you to try this with our second parallelogram, B. Try finding the base and height on your own and solving the problem. Once you're ready, unpause the video and I will walk through it with you. So we're going to start by looking at our base, and we're going to count how many squares there are in our base. 1, 2, 3, 4. For our height, we're going to start at the top, draw a line down to the bottom, and we're going to count how many squares we have in our height. 1, 2, 3. So your height would be equal to 3. I'm going to plug those numbers into my formula. Area equals base times height. So area will equal, our base is 4, and our height is 3. 4 times 3 would give me 12. So you should have gotten 12 for your area. So the final thing I'm going to have you do, I'm out of room, so I'm moving to the back of my page. So I'm going to give you a few problems that I'd like you to try on your own and bring into class tomorrow to see how you did. So here's your first one. Here is your second one. Now for this one, keep in mind where the red line is. The red line will tell you your height, so then your other number would be your base. Okay, and your final one. Okay, so I'd like you to please solve these 3 problems, and then that is all you have for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.